Back in the kitchen with Amy Schanberger. She is a registered dietitian with Aurora Bake here, and every time she's here, she's trying to get us to eat a little bit more healthy, which is a good thing.
Right. So today we're going to make a it's a family recipe, and we usually call it brunch, but it's just like an egg bake, and I've modified it to make it a little bit less lower in fat and a little bit healthier. So what we're going to do is start with a 9 by 13 inch pan.
Okay.
So spray it with some nonstick cooking spray.
And what I'm excited about this egg bake is that I don't think you're going to notice the difference at all between the one you normally make. These few little changes that we're making, once it all bakes together, you know, some of these newer, lower fat products and things like that, they're wonderful.
Yeah, and I like to usually just kind of go in between. It doesn't have to be totally fat-free, but just cutting back a little bit can make a big difference.
Absolutely. All right, so I sprayed by 9 by 13.
And then you take a loaf of bread, and with this recipe I use whole wheat bread.
Okay.
So it has more fiber and more nutritional benefits in it. So just and you can cut the crust off. I guess you don't really have to. That's just something that my family recipe calls for.
Okay.
So put one layer of the bread, and then
we'll just kind of divide it up here a little bit. And again, we got a nice healthy bread instead of the you know, French loaf of bread that I used for the French toast earlier. So get that, kind of tuck it all in there. And you're not going to know when it's all baked with all this egg. You know, you're not going to know that there was healthy whole wheat bread under there. Okay, what next?
Okay, and then we put a layer of cheese. So you can find some really good low-fat cheese that's made with 2% milk instead of whole milk. So it has less saturated fat in it. And these are pre-sliced, so you can just put one slice over each piece of bread.
Great, makes life really easy. And again, you know, the absolutely no-fat cheese, not so good.
Yeah, so I'd rather not even really eat it.
Exactly, but this stuff is great.
And cheese is a good protein and calcium source, so it's good to get your calcium in to
Good, because I'm not. That's one thing I'm not giving up, Amy. Sorry. Okay, so we got our whole wheat bread down, our reduced fat cheese.
And I like to just kind of be creative when I'm cooking and put whatever vegetables maybe that I have in the fridge, or if you have family members that you know don't like certain types of vegetables, you could put like spinach and like chopped tomatoes or sliced tomatoes. Today we're going to use some green onions, so just sprinkle some green onions or scallions over the top. And some green peppers.
Love those too. Red peppers I know are really healthy too, and that'd be pretty for the holidays. I'm going to check the one we've got in the oven.
Okay, sounds good. And then instead of using regular bacon, I'm going to use Canadian bacon, which is much lower in fat.
And it's yummy.
Regular. And it's very
really
good.
Yummy. Look how lean it is. Just dice it up. That's a great substitution. And that way you got the meat in there for the guys who, you know.
And save some for the top.
Okay, save some for the top. Okay, we'll do. Pick a couple out. Okay.
Okay, and then we're going to put another layer of bread over the top of this.
Okay. And that bread is going to absorb the egg and just puff right up. You know,
and that's what, you know, right now I could be starting with, well,
sure.
It doesn't take
Go
too
for
long,
it.
but
Go for it and start with the egg batter.
Okay, so the egg mixture is 4 eggs, and I like to use Eggland's Best, or I don't know, it's a type of egg that the chickens are vegetarian fed, so they're actually high in omega-3s, vitamin E, and lower in saturated fat. So that's one way an easy substitution. I've tried using egg beaters, which are egg substitutes that are just mainly egg whites with some color added to it. That doesn't really work so well. I think you need some fat that's found in the yolk.
I'll slice up this tomato too. I love, it's very European to have tomato with your eggs, and so I loved when I was reading this recipe, I thought, oh, I love the idea. Just slice them up, is that right?
Yeah, and we'll put the egg mixture on first, and you have to let it soak. I don't know if it makes a huge difference if you do it all at once.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add to the 4 eggs 2 cups of milk, and to make it healthier, instead of using whole milk or 2% milk, I'm going to use 1%.
Okay.
Again, the 1% has a little bit of fat in it, so it's not, still adds some flavor to it.
Sure, exactly. I even think skim would be okay in this one. You know, we've got all this other stuff going on, the cheese and all these wonderful layers of flavor.
All right, and usually you can season it.
Let's do a little salt and pepper. What do you
have
use?
some over here. This
there we
is
go.
just like, I really like the sea salt grinder.
Yeah.
And then there's...
show me how that works.
Okay.
Oh,
and if you're watching your sodium intake, sea salt does have salt in it. However, it has a stronger flavor, so you don't need to use as much.
These are cool.
And this is kind of by the same company, but it's a garlic pepper, and it's got some garlic pepper and different herbs and spices in it to add flavor.
And I think that's a great idea when you're cutting some of the fat, season it up then well with some different herbs and
definitely to
different
take place
fun
of that fat that you
that
cut out.
smells good. Okay.
So mix it up, and then we'll pour it on top of our bread.
You bet. Now, is this a make ahead too, Amy? I mean,
Well, you could do that. I think if you use really dried out bread, you could let it sit overnight. But
Okay.
if it's fresher bread, it might get a little bit too soggy.
okay.
And otherwise, you have to let this sit for like 5 to 10 minutes and then bake it for about 25 minutes.
Okay.
And then you put toppings on it.
Okay, so at this
and
point,
broil it.
we'd go into the oven right now.
Right.
And bake for 20 minutes or so.
About 20, 25 minutes.
Okay, and then when it comes out, we'd put some tomato on here or whatever other fun things you want
Right.
to put on
So
top.
I like to use some tomatoes.
Let me slice up one more of those. Mushrooms I see
You could
here.
put some mushrooms on it, whatever vegetables that you like. I like lots of vegetables, and vegetables are very healthy, so it's a good way to balance out this breakfast and make it more nutritious.
And a good way to bulk up the casserole, like you say.
Right.
Maybe I like the seasoned tomatoes just a teeny bit. Just gives them some more flavor. And then maybe some more of the scallion and
And the Canadian bacon.
it just keeps looking better and better, Amy.
Yeah, I don't think my dad's recipe has as many vegetables, but it's a good way to sneak them in.
Absolutely, some mushroom. Bob, my husband, loves mushrooms, so we throw some sliced mushrooms in here.
And I think if you put more vegetables on, you could almost just bake it for 25 minutes with the vegetables so that they get done, and then towards the end, sprinkle a little extra cheese on it and broil it so it gets nice and golden
Yum.
brown.
That's where the extra cheese
Yep,
comes
and this
in.
is just some shredded cheese. You could use, like mozzarella is naturally lower in fat than regular cheese, and otherwise I like the 2% cheeses. As I mentioned, they have some fat in it, so they still taste like cheese.
That looks so good. Let me show you how this all bakes together and turns out, because it just looks wonderful. We broiled it just at the end here, just to get that little bit of, oh, Amy.
Ooh, that looks
Oh, this is gorgeous. Serve it with a nice fruit salad, maybe some healthy muffins, and I always like to let these sit just a little bit before you get right into them.
Right.
You know, they slice a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, oh, that looks good. No one will even know it's a little bit healthier. Amy, so great to see you.
It was good to see you too.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
We'll let that cool a bit, and then let me tell you, I'm digging in. Recipe for this is on our website. And again, Amy is a registered nutritionist at Aurora Bake here, and be happy to help you out with your recipes and things.